Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's AMA. Thanks for signing in. I will be hosting because, well,
All good?
sorry, technical difficulties. I had the YouTube open, so it was echoing. Yeah, first time running the tech side of the equation, so it looks a little bit bootleg. Had to do the YouTube one there. Usually we rely on our lead designer and producer Marty, but he has caught the man flu after back-to-back gaming conferences repping Rainy Studios in Melbourne, Australia. So maybe he partied a little bit too hard. So he's off today. Still around and helping out with anything urgent, but yeah, we've instructed him to rest up, keep his fluids up, and get better as soon as possible, so that he can do it all again next week for South by Southwest. It's the month of gaming conferences in Australia, and we don't have many opportunities to send team members and introduce people to our game, because most of these conferences happen overseas on the other side of the world, which is a big logistical problem for an Australian company. But yeah, October we have GCAP, PAX, and South by Southwest. So GCAP and PAX were done the last week or two. And that's why we didn't do the AMA last week. South by Southwest, it'll be the first one ever. We're friends with one of the organizers there, so that should be pretty exciting. And that is next week. So if you're in the area, I believe South by Southwest is in Sydney. Come on down and say hi, meet Marty face to face. Yeah, but because we missed last week and because we've had a lot of developments with Rainy, we thought it was important to do an AMA anyway. So we have the ever reliable Ray joining us today, and myself. So how you doing, Ray?
Yeah, good. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's like you say, it's a busy week, obviously, and excellent to see the X-Photon stuff pretty well out. A couple of little hiccups, but they seem to be getting sorted out.
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
X-Photons. Yeah, no, it's brilliant.
Yeah, that was a long time coming. So we've got the X-Photon staking portal all good. We
And that
have
goes live next week, does it? The earning part
the
of the
earnings.
RSC?
Yeah, should go live at midday AEDT, which is Sydney time, next Monday, the 16th of October. So let me just try one thing. Is my audio sounding okay to you, Ray?
Sounds fine to me, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
Perfect.
cool. Yeah, so rewards should go live 12 p.m. AEDT Monday. We left that gap between when we did the airdrop and when we opened up the migration or staking portal intentionally, just because in dev world there are always these little hiccups like you mentioned. So Josh has been working through to resolve all of them yesterday and today. We're pretty confident that by the end of the day we should have resolved pretty much all of them. If you have any issues with your airdrop, feel free to reach out. We've linked a site where you can check if you have any X-Photon staked. And the easy way is just to go to rainy.io/stake and connect the wallet that you qualified for the airdrop in on the Beam mainnet. And that should show you the balance staked. The earning rate will show 0 for now. But that will kick in on Monday, 12 p.m. And you can also, all the X-Photon that you've accumulated from staking Genesis cards and or LP, you can stake that as well. So you probably want to do that before earnings kick in on Monday at 12 p.m. Sydney time. But yeah, excited to have that milestone getting finalized over the next few days.
Is there a, do you guys have a general idea as to how much the total pool of X-Photon would be?
Yes, we do, and we will confirm that once we've finalized the last few bits and pieces of the airdrop. So happy to share that information like before we activate earnings, so within the next 3 days. But just because it's a little bit of flux while we resolve any of the manual airdrops that need to happen, that total supply will change a little bit. So we'll let you know by Monday.
All right, cool. That sounds good. Just gives everybody, I suppose, the interesting opportunity to calculate how much their total is of the total percentage and get some idea as to what their return potentially should be, I suppose, from that 50 million pool over the 5 years.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah, that's great. That's
fantastic.
excellent. Thank you.
Should be a big one. And I guess the other major update is just because it's coming up a lot. I'll preempt it by talking about the RST storefront, which is our next major priority. In terms of where that's at, the front end is all pretty much done, and we've made good progress on the back end. The main delay that we saw there came from the fact that it is actually quite difficult to build the back end in a way where it is connected to both the blockchain and our own server, because the Rainiverse Battle Pass is going to be like an NFT, and then we have to have a way of tracking when it has been redeemed so that it doesn't get on-sold to an unsuspecting buyer who thinks they can use it themselves, and then issuing on-chain rewards when the rest have been server-side. So navigating all that has just taken a bit longer than we would have liked, but we're on the home stretch. We have I think 4 developers working on that. As soon as the X Photon is sorted today, we'll have 4 blockchain and full stack devs focusing all their energy on just getting the storefront finalized and online as soon as possible. And so that should be online pretty soon. You can get your Rainiverse Battle Pass and start exchanging your RST to Lux with the bonus rate. And yeah, redeeming all those rewards that you might have already unlocked by leveling up this season under the Rainiverse Battle Pass path.
Nice. That's a bonus, I suppose, for everyone who's been grinding away on the levels, just to because all the rewards on the Rainiverse Pass are on-chain rewards. You guys were saying.
Yeah, correct. So yeah, everything you'll get there is going to be like an NFT or something, which is again, it's pretty awesome. And there are a limited number of Rainiverse passes because obviously all of the collectible cards we issue have a very strict max supply. We can't just leave that open as the game grows. Yeah, we have to cap the number of Rainiverse battle passes that'll be available because all of the rewards will be on chain. But that should be good.
Is that a known figure, the cap, or just
Um,
work it out each time based on what rewards you're getting?
yeah, it can be changeable. I think we've had 2 proposals that we've been looking at. It's gonna be 50 or 100 or somewhere in between. It's not going to be more than 100, it looks like. So yeah, because there's like quite a lot of value packed into the Rainiverse Battle Pass, and there are the limited supply. I think we're probably going to be starting with 50 for season 1. So yeah, if it's something you're interested in, keep your eyes on Telegram. We'll give you a heads up when the storefront's going live, and be one of the 50 who get that pass.
Wow, that's not a lot, is it? 50 or
Uh,
100. It's going to be
It's
like
not, but I mean, it's one of those things where it is quite priced quite a bit higher than the other battle passes, and it has quite a lot of value packed into it. So I imagine it's not going to be something that like everyone in the Rainy community is interested in.
yeah.
The average player, we would expect to be happy with the Lux pass. That gives you like most of the value and everything. But if you are a true collector and you want to maximize the value and you're very passionate, then the Rainiverse Battle Pass is the best of the best. The premium. It's kind of like a collector's edition for a game. So for the real enthusiasts, yeah, um, 50 will be available for season 1. It looks like at this stage.
In the okay, that's interesting. I mean, because I mean, this is just my what I thought maybe that that might help to generate the want for RST. I suppose is that people want to buy RST to buy the pass, but obviously if it's limited, that's different. But what other things will be available for purchase using RST in the store in general? Is
Yeah,
there?
so I mean, one of the ways to generate demand for RST is because it is the most efficient way to get Lux. So if you want to buy anything in game, your best bet is to do so by exchanging RST for Lux. It has like a permanent bonus of, let's say 20% compared to if you use fiat to buy the Lux. So even all the stuff you can buy now with Lux, you're going to be better off indirectly buying that through RST. But in addition to that, we're adding a bunch of RST exclusive purchases, a lot of, like cosmetics. We're actually we've made a lot of progress preparing for Formations, our next pack drop, both in terms of the card design and card art, but also in terms of adding a lot of extra value to collectors and our Web3 players. So we have a lot of alternative card art coming out, which is going to be pretty cool. So that's one of the things that you'll be able to purchase in certain circumstances. But there's a whole bunch of stuff that will be there. The main items are going to be the Rainiverse Battle Pass and then exchanging for Lux. And then there's going to be like a whole bunch of other like cosmetic and quality of life items that you'll be able to buy that are RST exclusive. We're going to have some of the heroes will be RST exclusive. And then obviously once Formations drops, you'll be able to buy the on-chain collector packs with RST. That's going to be one of the big ticket items there.
Oh, there's a lot going on, I suppose, isn't there? Really.
Hmm?
How is the heroes coming along? Is that that's sort of a little bit on hold while you sort out all the Web3 stuff?
Yeah, the Web3 stuff is definitely our top priority. The heroes, where they're at, we have all of the artwork completed. So it's they're kind of ready to go. It's just a matter of doing a collector drop or an NFT drop like that. Takes a bit of dev resources to prepare the page and all of the back end. And we're allocating all of our blockchain and full stack devs to now it's going to be the RST storefront, just finalizing that. And then the next priority is getting some play to earn mechanics online. Yeah, unfortunately, as is the case with the development world, when you're building things that haven't really been built before, um, yeah, we have to make our best estimate of how long it's going to take, and then there's always a bunch of complications that arise, and we just find solutions and ways to navigate around them and overcome them. But yeah, it just means that sometimes things take longer than we would like. So
Sure.
the heroes are ready to go once we get all the Web3 rollout complete.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Obviously, the critical stuff is getting all the Web3 online and play to earn. You mentioned that one of the questions was when is play to earn live? That is being worked on, obviously, with the Web3 stuff. But is you just mentioned it before, but is there a generalized time frame as to when some of that sort of stuff might kick in?
Yeah, so the revised timeframes that we're looking at now, storefront is the next big item, so people can actually spend their RST. And then the next top priority is play to earn from there. We want to have all of that online before the end of season one. So, um, I hope that the X Photon stuff gets resolved by Monday, then the storefront within the next couple of weeks, and then all the play to earn thing in the weeks from there. So I would say at this stage, with the storefront where it's at, that should be launching in October, towards the end of October, and then the play to earn stuff should be coming online early to mid November. Just to have the full Web3 rollout completed by the end of season one is our objective now.
Okay, cool. That's no worries. I don't imagine the World Cup at the moment's taking any time away from what you guys are doing. That's just chugging along in the background by itself.
Yeah, I mean the great thing about the some of the recent patches we've done is the ability to yeah, watch replays with actual speed. So I know our in-house video editor Joe D and moderator has prepared a video for the grand final of the first event, and we're getting him a whole bunch of footage to edit more. We don't physically need to be present for the events anymore. The main reason that Marty and I would usually attend the World Championships in the past, sorry, not the World Championships, just the tournaments. It was one, just to make sure things are progressing well in terms of things aren't breaking, there's no disqualification decisions that we need to make. But then the second was to spectate matches live and record them so that we get the content. Now we have every single game recorded from the World Championships. So we're going to have more content than we know what to do with. And we're going to be cherry picking all of the grand finals we'll be putting up. Some of them will have commentary. And then we'll, if there's any exceptional games, make sure you keep note of it and just let us know. We can review the footage. And if it looks good, we can maybe do it as like a highlight game to get it up on YouTube. But yeah, a lot of the World Championship events we are around and we're just focusing on building or doing other stuff instead. We haven't really needed to step in for anything. That does bring me to one point I wanted to address. There was a bit of confusion around the double elimination format. And I think that was because it's the first time we've run an event like that. It's the first time Blue Mint have as well. They actually built the capabilities specifically for us for the World Championship. There was just I guess a breakdown in communication in what was expected. We'd always intended for the grand final to be single elimination sudden death. So the way double elimination works is if you lose a match, you drop down into the losers bracket, and then if you win all your matches, you can still end up in the grand final and take home the championship. But you got to like fight your way back there. If you win every match, then you obviously make it through to the grand final. But then if you lose in the grand final, there is no losers bracket anymore, so there's nothing to drop down into. Sometimes the event is done where the person who came through from the losers bracket has to win 2 matches, or they have a 1 game head start. Since our tournaments already take a really long time, we didn't want to be doing like double matches, and the 1 game head start just kind of makes it like an inspiring grand final match. Sometimes the best of 3 format is obviously a lot more exciting. We don't want to get all the way to the grand final and have the winner just win the first game and then it's all over prematurely. So that was the logic behind us wanting to do single limb for the grand final. But I will acknowledge and apologize for the fact that we could have communicated that better to Blue Mint, posted it on the events and to the community. Again, just because it's the first time either of us have done it, it's a bit of a learning process. What we have discussed internally and decided is that the 2 people who got to the grand finals and then lost in the double elimination, we'll be giving them some additional compensation rewards. So Huncho and Ollie, I believe it was.
Yeah, Super Ollie. Yep.
Yeah, so I think what we're thinking is 3 additional formation on-chain packs and then a Lux bundle of their choice, just to acknowledge the fact that our communication could have been better, and we totally appreciate that they came into it with a different expectation. But other than that, I think the World Championships have gone really smoothly. We've had it's the first time we've done a whole bunch of events. So I know there's been a lot of I guess people communicating about the Web3 rollout and when play to earn and when storefront and bits and pieces there. It's been pretty apparent that we have been prioritizing the fundamentals of the game from the get-go, and we're just putting all of the Web3 layer in place now. That's no more evident than the World Championships in all of the additional formats we've added to the game. So we did the open format, which was our old tournament format before we actually launched the full game. We did the theme deck format. We did the collectibles format where you have to own the on-chain card if it exists to include it in your deck. And all of these formats have functioned really well. So yeah, we're really happy with how the World Championships have progressed so far. And yeah, the numbers have actually been very strong. We had over 100 registrations for the first tournament, so came out strong out of the gate. And then even some of the ones with higher barriers. So we had Over 30 people compete in the collectibles tournament, where you actually need to own all the collectible cards to build the decks for that one. So yeah, it's been pretty successful overall, and we're really happy with how the World Championships have progressed, and we're excited to get that video content out to showcase all the cool stuff that's been happening.
Yeah, it's good to watch some of the games. Definitely. I mean, they're on a knife edge, I suppose. Like this last tournament, old Chad Rainey saved me, and then destroyed me in the next game after that. But they're just game changers. Some of these cards,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
really good.
Chad can be fickle like that, hey? One time he's
Yeah,
on your side, and the other time he just smacks you in the face.
exactly. But good to see how the really good players of the game choose their cards as well. I suppose when you're watching the replays and things like that.
Yeah, I'm still amazed that the first championship event was one with a rainbow champion deck. We've had that functionality in the game for so long, but it's only now that it's come out ahead. I know like a couple of our game devs were really excited to see that um, because yeah, that's always a fan favorite, the rainbow champion deck.
Yes, instant destruction if you can get it out, which is scary if you're on the other end of it.
Yeah, it's like this inevitability clock. But then, yeah, you can still win if you build the deck well. Then you can still win through the traditional means. That's probably going to be more common that you just kill your opponent or die before you meet the criteria. But yeah,
Yes.
it
Yeah.
definitely counters the mill type decks with like hydras or anything that just keeps adding cards to your deck. The chubby aliens. So.
No, definitely. Uh, the With the World Cup playing out at the moment and things like that, obviously people have always asked, about marketing and things like that. Are there any new things on the horizon for that? I know Pentoshi's is coming up, so I imagine he'll get involved in that. But Merit Circle and Pentoshi, are they pushing anything for
Yeah,
us?
so we did a games night with the Merit Circle community last week, where we introduced a whole bunch of them to the game and showcased for an hour. Pantoshi has tweeted about the World Cup with his event coming up again. We are going to be asking him to be giving us some more coverage there as well. And then I guess the main items of marketing, we did the partnership with Morpheus, we did the partnership with IndieGG, we engaged Copper Pitch, we engaged Kriparian. So we've done a whole bunch of like initial marketing efforts. Um, the reality is that in the current market conditions for a Web3 game that is desktop only, it's difficult to see an adequate ROI from marketing efforts. And so, yeah, we tracked it. We did get some new players. We got some results. We got upticks, which is great. So we are slowly growing the community. But based on what we've seen for other similar games, we think we're going to get a better impact once we have localization and mobile online. Hearthstone didn't explode until it launched its mobile application. So, a
Yeah,
lot of our game dev efforts behind the scene have been preparing for the port to mobile, as well as getting the text ready for localization. So that should open up a lot more markets. And then when you're doing a broad-based marketing where you're just streaming to gamers in general, um, if they only play games on mobile and they see uh, a game that they like the look of and you can only play it on desktop, that's just like a missed opportunity there. If they only speak Portuguese and they see a game that's all in English and they like the look of it, but they just don't know how to get into it, that's a missed opportunity there. So it really just having ways for new players to the game to engage in the format that suits them and the language that they can actually speak, um, just increases the efficiency of marketing efforts significantly. So yeah, we did a whole bunch of marketing in the lead up to and the beginning of the World Championships. And we're going to be pushing for bits and pieces, but we're going to be pretty selective about it until we have mobile and localization done, and then we're going to have another big push. That's kind of the plan at this stage.
sure. And mobile and localization, they still on track for the end of the year?
Yeah, looking good. I mean, we've done, I think we have done the majority of the work for both. Like the mobile ports, you can play the game on Android and iOS. It's just well, I mean Android at least. It's just there's a lot of optimization that needs to be done to make the experience better and to support the right devices. So that's where the work is still to be done. But I think it's a pretty major accomplishment that we were able to play a game through Android. So that's a good amount of progress there.
Yep.
And then the localization, we've got all of the text files extracted and formatted and sent to a localization company who are in the process of translating them to, I think, 7 or 8 different languages. So the only thing is, once we get those translations back, we need to allocate the dev resources. So that's why it's probably more the end of the year, where the devs at the moment, because formations is such a big drop, and it's got like some really cool new mechanics. The game devs are focused on just building out all of the game support for formations. So after that launches next month, then yeah, they can turn their efforts to implementing the localization and finishing off the mobile ports. But at this stage, still seems to be on track. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, 100% that mobile is a key to massive adoption, I suppose. Like you said, I've read the articles as well about Hearthstone, and they said that they did not take off until they went mobile. So everyone's got a phone and tablets or whatever, and that's what most people, especially the young ones these days, are using. So I can really see that being super priority. But everything lining up obviously very well for end of year, maybe
Yeah, definitely.
start of the
Hopefully,
new year. Get a good bit of a
hopefully 2024 is the biggest year yet. We've got like I mean the big thing we had to build was a really fun and polished game. We've done that now. We're really happy with where the game is. The formations is really just expanding on that. It's just adding more mechanics and cards to keep it a bit fresh. But the core game itself, like we think it plays very reliably, very smoothly. We've seen like a bunch of reviews, people who have watched it and been exposed to the game and really impressed with the level of polish, how fun it is, how engaging, and we've got the retention mechanics now in the battle passes. So yeah, the Web3 rollout just ties it all back to the tokens and collectible cards. The mobile port gives us access to a much bigger market. Like it could be orders of magnitude bigger than what we get now. Like I don't
yeah.
think it's just like a binary thing. Like
No,
an X percent. We're talking about like definitely more than double our current players. It could be triple, quadruple, whatever. So it's a huge opportunity there. And then the localization just makes it more accessible. So you'll get. We're seeing a lot of Brazilian players.
yes, for
we've
sure.
never really we've never really engaged anyone, and they're still just playing the game because there's a big card playing culture in Brazil. So, there seems to be a lot of interest in the game there, and they've just found it on their own. They're competing in tournaments, streaming, which is really cool. Um, but the English speaking rate in Brazil is quite low. So, yeah, it makes it difficult for the viewers of the streamers to access and learn the mechanics if the tutorial's all in English. So, that sort of thing, if we put them all together, yeah, could create like a pretty significant opportunity for the game going into 2024. So we're excited about that.
I think the play to earn sort of capacity of the people playing the game and earning, I suppose, would be interesting for a lot of the countries that have, don't earn as much as some of the Western style of countries. Uh, Money goes a long way, I suppose, and
Mm.
adoption sort of could take off a lot more, I suppose, when that P2E sort of function kicks in. But like I say, the Brazilians, I know of three, I suppose, Demetal and Pedrox and Ravina, I suppose. They're all highly competitive in the tournaments, and they're streaming as well, which is great. I mean,
Yeah,
so I could really see it taking off in some of those countries, most definitely.
definitely. That's one of the main reasons we wanted to do localization was just we were seeing like all this organic growth in countries like Brazil without us having done any outreach and we acknowledged that it was difficult. Like there is a barrier to entry for them due to the language and the fact that it's computer only. And if they're still that interested in getting in the game to the point where they're competitive in tournaments and they're getting like pretty decent viewer numbers, so people are enjoying watching, then it's pretty clear to extrapolate how big that could be for us once we get uh, everything to support them playing the game in place. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. India too, I think would be a good one. I think they're into cards a lot. They love their colours, so the game looks fantastic on screen, just so colourful, really. So I think that'd be another good market to
Yeah,
have.
definitely, man. So yeah, yeah, it's been a big grind to get to this point, but the game itself, that's the major piece of the puzzle. It's done. So now it's just yeah, and we've built out a lot of the initial foundational layers. Now it's just finishing it off, which is pretty cool.
One of the big things, I suppose, that's obviously just come up since we started the RST migration is the availability of buying RST. So there's a couple of questions, I suppose, about that potential central exchange listing, or Sebastian's been pushing it hard, some sort of ETH RST pool, some basically easier way for majority of crypto people to buy RST. Are we working on that?
Yeah, so we have spoken to I think 5 centralized exchanges since we launched RST. We have a quote for one. They're happy to list us as is, and it's actually pretty competitive, so we're considering that one. One of the other exchanges actually the requirement for them to list us. They're happy to do it, but we need to bridge RST to Ethereum. Again, it all comes down to the fact that while Beam has a lot of advantages, like we did 5,000 airdrops yesterday and it cost us $1 in gas. That's pretty insane.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah.
And they've got the connection with OpenFort for the custodial
Wallets.
wallet types solutions that are just coming online. It is a brand new blockchain, so we're fully aware of the fact that it doesn't have all of the infrastructure layer that you'd expect from the likes of Ethereum or even like Arbitrum or anything like that. The or Avalanche, the chains that have been around a lot longer. Um, so it's never been our intention to have RST exclusively on Beam. It's just because that's where all of the game mechanics are built out on the back end for the play to earn, for the storefront, for like the reward issuing. It made sense for us to launch the token there. I have spoken to Josh and he's confirmed that it's not because we've done it quite a few times now. So we did the Raini to RST migration. We've just launched the X Photon to RST redemption portals. We have a lot of familiarity with layer zero now. So, and we've got all of the technical, I guess, items built for those purposes that we can update and repurpose to bridge RST to ETH pretty easily. The only thing is, we just want to get the really core Web3 mechanics online first. So the storefront and the play to earn. Um, in the meantime, we may be able to do a centralized exchange listing, but because that doesn't actually take any dev resources, although it's not a lot of dev resources, it would still take some time for us to set up the proxy to bridge RST to ETH directly. And so we just want to get some of the core stuff online first. But look, we will be offering at least one option from centralized exchange or like Uniswap ETH LP, probably two or more. It's just yeah, we're progressing the centralized exchange conversations in conjunction with the rollout. The bridging side of the equation is probably going to be just after the core Web3 stuff is online. So it should be pretty soon that you'll be able to get it there. In the meantime, I've been pushing very hard for like more of that infrastructure stuff to come online for Beam. So I've been speaking to Merit Circle. We've been speaking to CoinGecko. That should be coming online now. You'll see RST's been in preview state for a while on CoinGecko. That's just because they're still in the process of setting up the Beam exchange to flow through so that it can track price data. But they committed to doing that about a week ago, and I have assurance that they're pretty close to getting that online. So you'll be able to see all of the price information and everything for RST very soon, as soon as they get that linked up. And I know Beam was added to DeFi Llama pretty recently. So just with the new blockchain, it takes a bit of time. But yeah, even with the rollout of all that stuff, we completely acknowledge and agree that it's important to have presence on centralized exchanges and or bigger, more established chains, because it's going to take a while for Beam to catch up. I think long-term prospects are great, but we can have a stopgap. Yeah.
Is the centralized exchange you're talking about that you have the quote for? It's not the one necessarily that's requiring the
No,
bridging
so
to
we have the
ETH.
option to list on a centralized exchange now without bridging to ETH. We've been speaking to this centralized exchange for quite a long time now, actually over a year. And they've been keen to list us for a while. They're pretty reasonably sized, they're well respected, they're trustworthy, and they've given us a relatively competitive quote. So that's what we'll do if we don't, I guess, come up with something better from one of the other exchanges. But we're just, I mean, with all of these sort of things, it's a negotiation. It's always good to get the best proposal from each of the parties and then share the offers that you've received from other centralized exchanges so that you can negotiate a little bit better sometimes. So that's just
Yeah.
kind of the process we're in at the moment.
And all centralized exchanges, I imagine, aren't equal because they exist on a chain of some sort. And obviously, ETH is probably the biggest, market, I suppose, for purchasing of coins. So this other one may not necessarily be on ETH. Obviously, it might be somewhere else that. So you still got requirements to purchase through there, obviously, as well.
Yeah, and look, if we once we get to the point where we're happy with a proposal and we agree to proceed with a centralized exchange, it is it isn't a huge amount of work to get the bridge done. We're going to do it eventually so that RST gets bridged to ETH, even if we just for now look at a centralized exchange listing, um, because ETH is the main chain. I don't think we'll necessarily look at bridging to like BNB chain or Phantom or anything like that again, because the more chains we bridge to, the more we expose ourselves to risk via the bridge. That's like a central point of failure, even with layer zero. You have to use a proxy, and there's just some risk there with adding more bridges to more chains. Um, but yeah, any like layer zero gives us the option to bridge to any chain that it makes sense to do so, and I think ETH is a no-brainer. So we'll start with that. We'll look at the centralized exchange, and then that opens up a world of opportunities, and I think that should be a really good start for all the people who have expressed valid concerns about us going all in on a relatively new chain. Which whilst it's got like huge potential, it just takes a while to build out all the infrastructure.
Yeah, there's definitely. It seems like there's a large waiting game really going on, but it's all in the background of a market that's heavily still in bear, really, in every way, considering what's going on in the world and things like that. It's there's not a lot of positivity floating around for people to sort of get happy about in
Yeah,
some of those ways.
and I'll tell you, Ray, like if the bull market was like back in full force, then we would absolutely shift our priorities to accommodate that. That's where like it would make
Yeah,
sense to bridge to ETH and make sure that we have that readily available liquidity. I think it's like you said, we are in the depths of a bear. It's just not gonna move the needle very much at the moment, which
no,
means that it makes more sense for us to prioritize the core functionality of the ecosystem, and then we will do that. But it's not a priority due to where the market is at the moment. It's not super urgent compared to getting the actual RST storefront online or the play to earn mechanics,
yeah.
which are what are gonna keep people playing and attract them in the first place, rather than just making it easier for people who want to speculate on the token to buy quickly. That there just aren't a lot of people who are looking to do that at the moment.
Yeah, and that's the thing, I suppose. I mean, I have, I suppose, been here for a long time, and my bags are pretty as full as I can get them, I suppose. But and obviously, everyone who's got bags of RST or Raini or whatever are keen for just to see, but it's not going to move regardless at the moment. And if this can be built, like you're saying, in this depth of bears, when the bull comes, you've got everything in place. You've got to have localization, you'll have mobile, you'll have fully functioning Web3 capability. You'll be on Beam, but you'll be able to buy it on multiple sort of chains. You could see it just going crazy really quickly in a
Yeah,
scenario
definitely.
like that. So that's cool.
If we have another bull run similar, it doesn't even have to be as strong as what we saw in like 2021. But if
Mm.
we have something like that again, in 2024 or something, then we will be so much better prepared than we were for, I mean, we didn't launch Rainy until March 2021, so we really did everything we could to try to capitalize on the tail end of that bull market. But it's you're in such a better position if you have built through the preceding bear market when the bull market starts. Those are the projects that just have like limitless potential for how big they can go. And that's where we're trying to position ourselves, playing the medium to longer term game.
Yeah, it's hard to wait, but I mean, there's no point anyway. There's nothing going really on at the moment, so you're doing everything you can to make it blast when things return to good sentiment. There's just a question from Kiwi in just one of the chats was, and I'm not familiar with this myself, but will the team bring the Rainy Twitter account over to Stars Arena? A bunch of AVAX people on the app, Coop, Yellow Panther, to name a few. It's a good way to interact with our most important crypto community, AVAX, and have some fun like Twitter of old. I don't know if you know anything about that.
Yeah, that's like the social fi side of the equation, right? I just went to their Twitter and the first thing I see is Stars Arena update. We have recovered approximately 90% of the lost funds. So
Oh,
talking
no.
about the security breach stuff, but yeah, from 5 hours ago.
Unreal.
Yeah, I mean that kind of like shows you have to be a bit very careful about who you partner with. I mean,
Yeah.
I it's good that they've recovered the funds, and I have heard bits and pieces about them. We're definitely open to partnerships that make sense like that, and we are pretty heavily invested in the AVAX community. So yeah, it's definitely a possibility, but to be honest, it's not something we are currently prioritizing or considering. So it would need to make sense in the future.
Yeah, that's fine. Obviously, as I say, you've got to be 100% focused when you're doing something like that. And on that, I suppose there's a lot of scamming type activity going on in the telegrams and potentially Discord. So people just have to be very cautious about clicking anything. And mods and the team will never DM, all that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely. We saw some posts where someone was messaging and had managed to, if you click into the profile, it had my at, and if you click on it, it takes them to my legitimate profile. I don't know how they're doing that on Telegram, but yeah, the unfortunately in this space and on Telegram, you just have to have a constant paradigm of skepticism about everything. You just assume everyone who's messaging you is trying to scam you and take your money. Um, and the only way you can be safe is if like you've got a very long chat history with that person already. Even then, if they're acting different to how they would usually, maybe their account's been compromised. So
yeah, it's
it's
true.
just always, yeah, just like any action you're taking on Telegram, clicking links, opening files, entering details, um, just stop and ask yourself, is there a way that this could be a scam, that I'm exposing myself? Is there a safer way I can do this? Can I double check anything? If you're going to a website, make sure you type it in yourself. Don't just click the link and navigate there on your own. But yeah, just be really careful. It's unfortunately the reality of the space at this stage.
Yeah,
Being still early in crypto means there's a lot of scams.
yeah. Yeah, but you can always double check. You can always ask in the main chats and things like that about legitimacy of things. People's claiming an airdrop or claiming you have to go here to get your X photon. Any of that sort of stuff. Always ask, and you'll get some good advice from the community as well as the team. I think I
So
just have one more question here, I suppose, and that was in the tournaments, the World Cup tournaments and things like that. The assigning of the seats for the World Cup. Each tournament has like 2 or 4 or whatever. If an existing person who's already has a seat wins again, do they get 2 seats or 3 seats or 4 seats, or do those seats go somewhere else?
Yeah, so
That
I'm pretty sure the way we've set it up is that if we have a repeat winner, one, you'll get more prizes, including more Player of the Championship points. So it's still worth trying to win.
yeah,
It's not just about seats in the grand final, but those seats actually go into the last chance qualifier. So um, you
okay,
can't just stack seats and then give them out to people, or have multiple entries of your own account
yeah.
entering. The grand finals will be, yeah, people who win the seats in all of the lead up events, and then there is the last chance qualifier, which will have all the like double up seats available there. That's kind of how that one works.
So that's a single event right at the end,
Yeah,
where
just before the
people.
World Championship. If you
Okay,
so anyone who yeah, doesn't manage to win an event, that's probably your best chance, because there's probably going to be a number of seats available in the last chance qualifier. Um, and that's where, yeah, we'll be getting
oh yeah,
the round out for the World Championship finals with as many
ooh.
of our top players as possible.
And that's a theme deck. That one, so
Correct? Yep.
somewhat level field, even though it doesn't turn out to be when you consider who ends up winning. But obviously, there's a lot of skill involved in picking the right cards. But it still somewhat levels the field when you're playing with theme decks. You know what they've got if they're blue or red or orange. So if the previous tournament winners all win that one again, it just filters down through the places to whoever's coming.
Yeah, exactly. All the seats will be filled from the last chance qualifier. So that's where they'll probably, you see, if you go to rtlol.com/2023-world-championships, it says seats into final, and then if you go down to the last chance qualifier, it's got two, but then it's got asterisk asterisk. That's where, we're gonna add a whole bunch more seats based on any double up. So, maybe
Yeah.
there'll be 10 seats available, and then you
Mm.
really don't want to miss that one. I'd say that's a really important one to mark in your calendars.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah.
All the theme decks are pretty cool, I reckon. I do enjoy the theme deck ones, just because of that leveling aspect, I suppose. It's a little
Yeah,
bit.
nice to be on the same playing field. And then it's just refreshing. I know, like, the collectible deck building card games, they take like quite a bit of investment to like learn the meta, to build your own deck, to do all this sort of stuff. To just click a couple buttons and then know that you're gonna fight a fair fight, and you don't have to make any decisions beyond actually playing the game. It's kind of nice. It's almost like one of these more casual gameplay formats that are available, while we're still building towards, the real other gameplay formats, which will be like, limited, like arena, or and like a auto chess type variant.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I really look forward to the theme deck one. And people who have just entered the game complete the tutorial, get a couple of theme deck tokens, pick your 2 decks, and you're able to compete. So that in itself is a good thing.
Absolutely, yeah. That's
Yeah,
that's the one that new players, we're gonna be, even beyond the World Championship, we're gonna be doing pretty regular theme decks. We're going to be keeping all of the formats we've got in the World Championships, it looks like. We're pretty happy with how they've all gone. And so, yeah, we'll just be rotating. I know we've already spoken to like a couple of other key partners who have seen how the World Championships are going, and they're like, hey, can we sponsor like another tournament after that? So, yeah, like even beyond the World Championship, we're gonna have a lot more events with theme decks as the main way to get new players in, I'd say.
yeah. That's pretty well all the questions I have at the moment.
Nice.
Niet Belangrik did ask a few, but I think they've all been answered with regard to things like the marketing and the focusing on the Web3 aspect. That's all been discussed. The difficulty of buying RST at the moment, that's all been discussed. Niet was just talking about a few of those sorts of things, but yeah, well, I think we've definitely addressed everything that he's asked there. Um, But that's it for now, unless you have anything else interesting coming up.
Yeah, no, just want to say thank you to everyone who has played in the World Championship so far and given us such juicy content that we are working through in the replays. I am really looking forward to. Actually, we should have one, the one that Jodie's already edited, ready to publish like today or tomorrow. So and it is a really good match with yeah, the first tournament. So yeah, good luck in the upcoming events. If I think Marty's listening in, so I hope you rest up, drink lots of water, have some like olive leaf extract or something to get your immune system up and ready. And
Yeah,
yeah, and thanks heaps for hosting with me, Ray. I think we did relatively well without Marty, huh?
yeah, and under an hour.
Hell yeah. That's the difference when you don't bring Marty in. You don't get
He's just
all
got
the
so much
talk.
to say. Yeah, so much to
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah. High energy, very, very loquacious guy. But yeah, he's
Yeah,
very good at what he does, so we love him.
indeed.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks heaps, guys, and we'll see y'all in Telegram. I do not have the video queued up. Let me just see if I can grab it again.
See you,
Do it
everybody.
Marty style.
Yeah.
Okay, I spoke too soon about handling this one.
Yeah. Oh.
And here we go. Share screen.
Q.